Alright, well, I guess we're just gonna go. Boom. What's up, YouTube? SrSpookfest here. I was just trying to set it up. But, yeah, how you doing, everybody? What's going on? Cheers. So, I got a few cases I wanted to talk about. And one I just learned about. What's up, Michael Birkin? How you doing? I'll give everybody a few minutes, see if anybody else comes in. Yeah, we got the Manhattan abduction. I talk a little bit about Travis Walton case. And then we're going to talk about one that I really just learned about. I got to give credit to Area 52, Chris Ramsey. Matilda O'Donnell McAfee or something like that. Let me see if I can find it. Matilda O'Donnell McElroy. That's way back. That's an older story from 1947. She was a nurse in Roswell, New Mexico. So you know what that means. Get a little bit more into that one than the rest, but I do want some people to let me know what they think of their theories on some of this UFO stuff. Having personal experiences with UFOs myself more than once, and first time also was with my sister and three of my friends up in Maine. That was really crazy. What's up, people? What's up, YouTube? I wasn't quite ready, but I am now. Let me get the rest of my drink. Three people. Woo, what's up? So, hi, Spectral Whispers. Hello. I think there's definitely something other than us out there in this universe. Yes. I like Spectral Whispers, just a little plant with the UFO. Good idea. So, some of these cases I'm kind of new to. The first one, and then Travis Walton, obviously, I know that one, Fire in the Sky. But the Matilda case, Area 52, 1947 case, that one is pretty tricky. I'll get into that in a few minutes. We'll probably go with the Manhattan abduction of Linda Napatillo. Napa, I can't say her last name. Napatilino, November 30th, 1989. So that one is really interesting. There is a documentary on Netflix about it. I watched that. Then I looked more into it. And some of the claims are very interesting. I was surprised how many claims there were of people actually citing her being abducted out of the 12th floor. I'll read you the whole thing in a second. But cheers, everybody. That's my alien hiding in the bushes. There have been some interesting updates on alien stuff lately. If you haven't seen some of the stuff going around right now, I believe Puerto Rico or South America, a guy had a comet land in his backyard. He picked up the comet, and actually something's growing out of it and moving around, and it's like venom, like a little weird wormy thing growing out of the comet. That's a really interesting case. And it keeps getting bigger, and it's moving and stuff, and he puts it inside a safe. And he's driving around with this thing, and he's sending out samples to people. I'm not sure if that one is fake or not, but it definitely is a weird one. Um, there's the black cube UFO going around. I keep seeing stuff about a black cube UFO, and there's actually videos and pictures and stuff like that. Then, of course, 3-Eye Atlas coming towards Earth. Gonna be here for, guess what, All Hallows Eve. And it's maybe a probe. Um, they are saying it has internal lighting and different lighting. It doesn't have the tail of a comet. It's only leaking out methane gas, which is a weird thing because usually comets have other gases leaking from it, or a tail. Have you heard about the guy that thinks lives on a ranch in New Mexico, but he claims to have actually killed a few grays? I have not heard that one. I'll have to look into it. Yeah, Three Eye Atlas is pretty interesting coming up. These older cases are really interesting too, since I watched a whole documentary on this one, the Manhattan abduction of Linda Napalantio, November 30th, 1989. It's said 3 aliens took her from the 12th floor apartment building, taking her out the window and onto a craft. It was near the Brooklyn Bridge, and another man, Bud Hopkins, prominent investigator in the UFO abduction cases, wrote a book called Witnessed in 1996. He claimed he found over 20 witnesses that witnessed Linda abducted out of the 12th story of a building in Manhattan. Uh, They saw her floating out of the window of the building. She was on the 12th floor, floating through the sky towards a craft. Linda on the side of the building, including bodyguards of dignitary at the time, were outside. So 2 bodyguards reported this too. And so it's like 23 people actually reported seeing this lady get pulled out of a 12-story window of a Manhattan apartment building. Really interesting case. So another one, the Travis Walton case that I'm just gonna go like breeze over, and then I'm gonna get into the Area 51 Matilda case, where she actually was said to talk to the last surviving alien that crashed in Roswell. So that's going to be a really interesting one. I have a lot of the notes for that. Yeah, on Netflix there is the documentary of Linda being abducted in Manhattan. She actually sued Netflix a few days before the show actually came out for defamation, and somebody stole the works of another writer that was writing her story previously. So that's a crazy thing that happened while she was doing, the interviews and doing a Netflix series and stuff like that. She actually sued them for defamation because it didn't paint her in a nice light, I guess. But cheers, Spectral Whispers. Dave Schrader knows the guy. He did an episode on him, maybe Ghost Adventures, years back before Zach got too douchey. Would it be crazy if Three High Atlas was injured cold and Terry Wrist coming back to say hello? One more episode, man. Sorry, I was passed out the other day when we were supposed to watch Hellier. If you haven't seen Hellier, it's a good watch. It's about goblins in Kentucky, and I don't know what just happened. I pressed a button. I shouldn't touch buttons. Oh man. It would be crazy if I just read that. So Hellier is a great show. Check that one out. I was watching the air races in Roswell this past weekend. They're pretty cool because they showed the fun things in Roswell alien stuff. Oh, I'll have to watch that. Parasolo, what up, dude? Oh, thanks, Michael. Yeah, share out channels if you can. Don't touch the buttons. I know, I probably just disappeared there for a second. But, so that Manhattan abduction, that is on Netflix. You can watch the documentary. It is an interesting watch. And I mean, 23 witnesses of a woman getting pulled out of a 12-story building. And she gets out the window towards a spacecraft. She ended up suing Netflix because of defamation, and somebody else was writing the story. There's a lot to that one that I didn't mention. I'm just bringing it up because I do believe that is a real abduction case. Another one that I wrote about was Travis Walton. He was only like 22 when this happened to him. If you haven't heard about this one or seen a fire in the sky, this would probably be pretty interesting. I didn't know about the Manhattan one. I've known about Travis Walton for a while. That movie did scare the hell out of me when I first watched A Fire in the Sky. I mean, I forget what year it was, but I watched on live TV the Phoenix Lights and aliens are here, and I was freaked out as a kid. And then watching Fire in the Sky, trying to get life situated, but you're almost there. All right, man. Hey, it ain't easy, dude. Life can kick you in the nuts, or you can get abducted by aliens. I hope for that second one. I might have already been. Yeah, and I'll tell you guys my story of my two main stories of when I was really close to some UFOs. Travis Walton, 1975, November 5th in Arizona. A 7-man logging crew at Apache Sitgraves National Forest. As they drove home from the logging area just after sunset, they saw what seemed like a fire in the sky and a glowing, and then a saucer in the sky above the tree line. Right above the tree line. Switch pages. 22-year-old Travis eventually got out of the truck near the craft, leaving relative safety, and according to his crew, was struck by a blue beam of light coming from the craft. Driving off, thinking that Travis had been killed. After a few moments, they went back to find out if Travis was on the ground. The craft and Travis had disappeared. Fearing for their safety and the safety and them being blamed for Travis disappearing, they went to the police. They reported it to the police after 5 days Travis being missing. He called his sister on November 10th from a payphone a few miles away, and he couldn't remember much at the time, but later accounted that he was pulled up into the craft, onto the ship, and bald little beings, maybe 4 feet tall, with big eyes, big heads, 3 fingers, started to examine him on the ship. These creatures, all the men on the crew had the same story, even were polygraphed. They each took a polygraph. Some polygraphs didn't really line up. There are some pieces of evidence that this was a hoax and it was done for money, but I do believe that Travis was abducted. He sticks to the story till this day. He still talks about it, and I don't think those guys were lying. A bunch of loggers, doing lumberjack stuff out in the woods. And he did disappear for 5 days and then showed back up a few miles away in a phone booth. 1978, a book was written by Travis, The Travis Walton Experience. 1993, A Fire in the Sky, the movie came out. And I probably watched it in like 1995 or something. I was probably too young to watch A Fire in the Sky, but it did freak me out. So, the last case I wrote about is the most that I wrote about. This is the case of Matilda O'Donnell McElroy. Let me double check that. Matilda O'Donnell McElroy, nurse at Area 51 Roswell incident. Her identity is not proven. There is no proof of her, but I did write. May have been deleted or hidden from shady government agencies. So this woman may have existed. There are some pieces of proof that she, talked to different people about this story. So a lot of people know the Roswell story, but Um, a book Lawrence R. Spencer wrote, Alien Interview, 2008. She had claimed to be interviewed one of the last surviving aliens from the Roswell crash site. Lawrence R. Spencer also wrote about aliens and sci-fi stories, so this writer automatically, he's already talking about sci-fi aliens and different things. But Matilda did say, Matilda passed away at the age of 83. She said that many men have disappeared to hide the story she has told. July 1947, Roswell, Army Airfield, RAAF for short, the 509th Bomber Group had recovered a crashed UFO from a ranch near Roswell, New Mexico. Jesse Marcel said to recover weather balloon parts, and later on coming out saying that that was fake and staged and it was just a cover-up. So Jesse Marcel is the guy in the picture when he's holding like a piece of a weather balloon. If you've ever read into or looked into the Roswell incident, later saying that they set that up so that they could put that in the newspapers, because the first thing that they came out with was that they found a UFO crashed in Roswell. What's going on? Oh, yeah. Let's see. I still have a lot on this one. This is a very interesting story, and I've just learned about it. And I figured I'd talk about it because it's a fun one. So, Jesse Marcel, years later, coming out with the cover up for the Roswell incident. Matilda was in the U.S. military flight nurse for the 509 Bomber Group. Briefly, she saw a craft USO and she did see the alien bodies of the crash site. And one survivor being that did not talk, but only telepathically to her. No one else actually heard or saw anything, but she claimed that telepathically, this being the last one alive from the Roswell crash, actually telepathically talked to her. Some of the messages from the being, from the last living being, was designated to her as her only could be the caretaker, since nobody else could understand anything the alien was trying to communicate. Let's see. In the alien interview, lists of questions were given to Matilda from different government agencies and, obviously the higher ups that were trying to ask different questions, military and all them, giving her questions because she was communicating with this being telepathically. I lost time once, but it wasn't because of oppressed by a spirit, no aliens involved. Oh, fun fact, the sign of an alien abduction is missing time. I don't know if I had missing time when I had my first UFO experience. Now, dreams afterwards, or what I call dreams afterwards, I was waving down at my sister and my friends on the beach from the place the orb I saw. I'll tell that story after all this. Yeah, that's really interesting, B. I didn't even think about that. You have told me that before, and I didn't even think about that. There are a lot of circles in the UFO community talking about maybe some of these UFOs do have to do with spiritual things. Some may be demons. Maybe they are from a different dimension and it's like the shadow realm or the upside down, whatever you want to call it. You have limited memories from that night. Very interesting. Slater Mill. Oh, okay, I know the Slater Mill. That's an interesting haunted spot. Where was I? No one else could be in communication with this being. It seemed that she was like the only one that could communicate with this. Maybe because she was like a woman and a nurse and seemed like she cared about it, so it decided, or it knew that she was like nice and trying to care for this being, so it decided to talk to her and her alone telepathically. That night is why I have the rose tattoo on your forearm. Oh, dove and rose tattoo on your forearm. Oh, that's cool. Excuse me. Mike, yeah, I've seen the picture, a little video. My dog and I saw a green orb hovering over the trees atop the road across the street. And pulled my phone out and it was gone. Yep. Usually those kind of things. I've seen a few UFOs now. First one didn't even have cell phones back then with like cameras like this. I was only like 15. The next one I filmed right after. I was in Yorktown driving, and what looked like a regular plane, or maybe one of those drones right above the treetops, you know, the drones going around last year, and suddenly turned into a red orb and took off. I started filming immediately after that. My GPS had glitched. I have those stories. I'll tell them right after this. Designated to be the caretaker of the alien and the interviews, it was a list of questions given from different government agencies. Matilda was given a promotion to rank of senior master sergeant and a higher security rating for the job. Her pay raise from $34 a month to $138 a month for the unusual assignment. That's a big pay raise for back then. It was said for 6 weeks, so the alien does pass away, I believe, after 6 weeks of them communicating. But many weeks after of talking with the ET named Arl, Airl, Errol. Matilda also said she never came in contact with the craft. She only came in contact with the other deceased alien bodies or non-human entities, and the one that was still alive that she would talk to, which is Errol. The only way they communicated was telepathy, and it was the beginning. At the beginning, Matilda also said it was hard to communicate as the being probably didn't know English, so it was a lot of images. She'd get flashes in her head, and could probably tell that this thing was trying to communicate in some way and wouldn't communicate with anybody else. Messages and images, and Errol learned English after a few days of Matilda taking care of this thing. This is a symbol she showed her. The alien showed Matilda, and that is the domain symbol. It's kind of Star Trek-y, I gotta say. But over a period of a few days, became easier to communicate. After a while, she got used to receiving these messages from Errol, and was told that Matilda and her need comes from what they call is the domain, the race or civilization that refers to their area of office. Oh, I put that different. Okay. So, Arrow is from an officer, a pilot, and an engineer from Expeditionary Force. Arrow said it was stationed at a base in the asteroid belt and refers to a space near Earth. This gets crazy. So they do. I'll get into some of the questions that they were asking her and like some of the answers. Greg and I saw a white orb slowly circling the night sky. Then it stopped, and then shot north towards Boston and lights up the sky as it went. Ooh. See, I've seen stuff up in the Bridgewater Triangle, but usually it was far away, and it was just a orangey light float by, do a few moves, and then then it was gone. I've seen spook lights in the woods. I've seen UFOs in Maine, Virginia. So yeah, I'm up to like 5 now. And I'm not counting those drones because I've seen when we were driving near Virginia Beach, me and Alicia one time, seen those weird drones that are like 8 feet with different flashing lights on them actually fly by real low, not making any noise. Um, Maybe they are UFOs in disguise. I don't know. But that's what it seemed when I was over in Yorktown and that red orb took off. Errol is a dumb name for an alien. Call him Billy. She said it was a girl alien, well, seemed female. On September 26th, Project Fear, Dakota Layton and crew are publishing their investigation of Area 51. Ooh, cool. I do believe something crashed in Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. It was all covered up. They didn't want people to know. Arrow was stationed at an asteroid belt, a space near Earth. Matilda said that she also had no clue why she had such a connection with this alien being, but spending several hours with her, she knew she was not crazy, and a guy, Mr. Cavett, so a general, ordered her that she was the only one that could stay with the alien and be, its caretaker, since she was the only one that could understand it. Maybe it was because Matilda showed concern for the alien when it first came in and it had trust with her. That's why Errol started to communicate with her. Matilda also noted that this being had no physical reproductive organs or had a feminine feeling to it, mentality. Matilda also said no internal organs. Uh, that's a weird one. I don't know if she means it's like a cyborg, or maybe she didn't say machinery. She just said like biological, but not. So really weird one. Oh, my great grandfather Frank Moore saw a UFO in Quincy. It was in the papers as well. Well, Bridgewater Triangle, that whole area. What's up, Dad? I'll put the channel link in Discord. Let's see, where was I? Internal origin. The creature stood about 40 inches tall, a rather large head, 3 fingers, big almond-shaped eyes. So your typical gray type of alien. Um, Seemed to be organic or a mix of organic machine. No food or water needed. This seemed to be an animated object by Errol as her spiritual being, not a biological life form. That's always been very interesting to me, that maybe some of these gray aliens are like vessels being used, kind of like biological cyborgs, but they're not robotic or anything. They're like probes, and something out there is controlling them. Always been an interesting one to me. Project Fear channel link in Discord. That was from a commercial in the 80s, right? That's a dumb name. I'll call you Billy. My nickname used to be Bill, and my middle name is William. Gilly. I do get into the questions of what they were asking the alien that they caught from Roswell. The first interview, many concerns, records and tape recorders set up, experts on the frontline, experts on foreign languages, interpreters, code breakers, teams, medical personnel, professional psychologists to ask questions, to ask Matilda to ask the alien questions. There was a whole team. I mean, there must have been, right? Area 51. You're gonna. I don't remember the 80s. No, I was an 87 baby. First question from Matilda. They asked, "Are you injured?" Errol said no. "Do you need food or water?" Errol said no. "Are there any germs or contamination on the craft that could be harmful to Earth or people?" Errol, "No germs in space." So just like straightforward answers from an alien. Like this this really interested me. If you want to see a better thing on this Area 52, go check him out. He did. I got a lot of this info from him, and this was my first time learning about Matilda and how she communicated with an alien from the Roswell crash in Area 51. Very interesting stuff. Time for another drink. And I only wrote a few more things, and then we'll just chat about some of my experiences, some of the stuff that I just still can't explain, firsthand witnessed. Um, let's see. She also asked, "Germs in space. Does your government or higher ups know you are on Earth?" Errol, "Not at this time." So they don't know that she crash landed. I'll get into a few more things like why they crashed and the ship, and there's a lot to this one that I would suggest you can go to Area 52 and watch his thing. It's much more detailed, but basically I'm just covering the ones that I really like. Alien abductions, and then this case, original case from Roswell. And I'm sure Project Blue Book probably talked to her. If she actually did all this, they must have. Hold on. Refill. That is, I gotta let that sit. That was terrible pour. Let's see. Next question. Will they ever come looking for you? Yes, eventually. Do you have dangerous weapons? Arrow. Yes, advanced weaponry, very destructive. Uh, why did your crash? Why did your craft crash? Arrow. Struck by electrical discharge from your atmosphere. Why was your craft in the area? Arrow. Air investigation of burning clouds and explosions. So the nuclear tests, maybe they saw that and decided to go and investigate, and then lightning hit their craft, and that's why they crashed. Basically, what I got from those questions that they were asking her. Another question. How? Oh, this one's a good one. if this is all true, I mean, this is just conjecture. They don't even know if this lady ever existed. There's no record of her because, well, why would the government, you know, let this get leaked? Um, how does the craft fly? Errol. Thought control, mind response, mind to thought control. Connected to the craft. Electrical nervous system possibility. So that was pretty crazy one. I mean, if you look at Bob Lazar, he said there was nothing in the craft except for some seats, and he didn't understand these seats were for the size of children, little gray aliens, but how the craft would actually mechanically be driven, no, it's just by their thought, which is like a big thing since when he came out in 1989 talking about S4 and UFOs like this, like Go Fast, and this one, of course, I'm wearing my alien abduction shirt. He said that he saw no controls for the ship. I'll show you my shirt. There's a person and a cow. Or it's a horse. I do love this shirt. Next question. Matilda asked, where are you from? The home or domain? The domain, the planet of the center of a huge cluster of galaxies. Next question. Will they send people to talk to the Earth's representatives? No, absolutely not. Errol, observe and report back only. Watch, no contact. Have you been to Earth before? Many years before. Before people or human civilization. What is your planet like? Errol, large, wealth, resources, always. 2-star system, 3 moons. Now, Zeta Reticuli has a 2-star system that maybe that's what she's talking about, and she's from over there. I've only had 2 encounters with the sort of stuff. An orb in my grandma's yard and used to have a crop circle in it and looked like 3 rings, one with burnt grass around it. I did just do a story about. I close my eyes and point. Um, there was evidence on the ground of a burnt circle, and it was hydrophobic, so the dirt wouldn't soak up water anymore, and also a white substance still left on the ground, sent to universities. Testing came back, non-identified materials. That's an interesting one. Just my last couple videos back. I don't even know where I had that. I have too many notes. Not going to send anyone to talk to Earth's representatives. No contact. Observe and report only. Years before humans, civilization. What is your planet like? Wealth, resources, always 2 stars. The moon, Zeta Reticuli might be the system, possibly. How old is your civilization? Trillions of years, ancient. Are there other intelligent life forms besides yourself? Errol, everywhere. We are the greatest, highest of all, the domain. I also wrote down, when other people entered the room when Matilda was doing interviews, Errol didn't respond. Errol wouldn't respond to any other people going into the room to try and ask questions. She would only respond to Matilda, the main nurse that started talking to her right after the crash. Now, there was a lot more to that. I just wrote those notes. And then I figured I would just talk about 3i Atlas, the Cube UFOs, And then that venom type growth coming off a comet, I believe it's for South America. This guy picked up a comet out of a burning hole out of the ground, and it looks like a little potato, a little silver potato. But I don't know how he would fake it. This stuff starts growing out of it, and it's like little tendrils, like tentacles, and it's moving, and then it's growing when he says he puts it in daylight, and it starts to grow. So he's put it in a safe, and it was still growing. It even detached from the comet, and it's getting bigger and moving more. If he's faking it, it's very well done. I do have to say it's one of the better, well done alien, creepy, gross. It's pretty gross. Now, some people have been saying it's a fungus or like a plant, a stink mushroom or whatever. I don't think it is. It definitely is something else. I'm not sure exactly, but there's no way that this guy's got a puppet like that. And he was touching it with his hands and all sorts of stuff. Um, he does have gloves now, and he has updated some videos. Casper site just did a whole thing on it. I enjoyed watching Casper sites. I've seen other people doing it. That's Impossible channel has done some stuff on it. Even Barry Stepp has done some stuff on this, and it's very very weird and interesting. If this is true, this is really interesting and scary to me. The Matilda case with the Area 51 1947 Roswell crash, also very interesting. I did watch another thing about Skinny Bob. If you've never heard of Skinny Bob, check out Skinny Bob. Some people say it's AI, some people say it's CGI or whatever. But they have a videotape of a crashed UFO, aliens in full view, full body, like outline, like aliens, gray aliens. That guy. Um, you know, one of these. So I don't know if Skinny Bob is real or not, but for I think that was 2011 that came out onto YouTube. We just didn't either it's a puppet or I mean it would be the best alien puppet I've ever seen, or it's real, um, which is hard to say. I mean, all this stuff is conjecture. We have no idea, but personally, I have seen UFOs. Um, I'll tell you my first encounter right now. And I was with other people. So I've told this story a few times. I'm not sure if the spook lights that I captured on camera would count as a sighting or not. Spook lights could be something different. Some people say swamp gas. I don't believe that. I'm gonna say that sometimes those little orbs, they're softball size, maybe basketball size, flying through the woods. Sure, people will say ball lightning, stuff like that, but I've seen those in the Bridgewater Triangle. Um, I do believe those are spook lights, or what you would call. It's kind of like spirit lights. Then you got legends like you'll see the lantern of a ghost walking down the abandoned railroad tracks. I've seen lights like that. But usually for UFO stuff, from what I've seen, was undeniable. I was 15 in Maine. My sister and three friends walked down to the beach, and we're surrounded by mountains and the lakes there, and we look up and there's a giant orange orb floating over the lake, maybe 100 feet high. We could see the reflection off the lake. This thing was bigger than a house. Orange orb, like, yeah, I'd say that color orangey. And then off into space, disappeared. I waved at it immediately. For weeks after, I had dreams of actually being on that, waving down at my friends on the beach, at my sister. I have interviewed my sister about that, and she gives a very similar story. but it's just what happened to us. We can't really do much more than tell our experience. We don't we don't know what it was, but also I don't think it was us. I 100% don't believe that we had that kind of technology back then. Uh, I mean, what do you guys even think about any of those abductions or Matilda's case? And what do you think of Roswell? I do believe Roswell had some type of crash. My next experience was actually last year. I was driving, doing deliveries, and I was going through the backwoods of Yorktown, Virginia here. I came up and I knew my GPS had been glitching, and I was like, where am I going? And it had taken me through some back roads of old Yorktown, and I'm out in the middle of the woods, and then suddenly it looks like a small aircraft comes flying over the tree line. A car in front of me even starts to slow down. I slow down. What looked like regular airplane lights just morphed. Red orb zoomed off down the road straight across from us at hyperspeed. I had known right away what I had just seen again because I've witnessed things like this before. Now, the car in front of me did just keep driving. He took off after that. I stopped and I realized I'm at the back of Yorktown Airport. I'm recording. I'm like, dude, I just had an experience, kind of freaking out. Turn around. I'm 3 miles from my destination. My GPS had taken me like 3 miles out of my way, and you're 5 minutes, 7 minutes from your destination now. I'm like, okay, what the hell just happened? And I'm just guessing that it was something that was like meant to be. I was supposed to be there, and that was supposed to happen. I do wish the guy in front of me stopped because I did pull over and then start recording. No airplanes were landing. I couldn't see anything else in the sky. It definitely was not a regular airplane. Um, and I've heard different colors mean different things for different UFOs. And this thing turned into a bright red orb and shot off. Um, I have heard that the orange one was looking for biological life or studying, life on Earth. So that was the first encounter. Another one up in Bridgewater Triangle, I have seen just orbs of light fly past and disappear, do a weird little move, and then take off. Here in Virginia, another time, I was sitting out front. My Alicia's cousin and her boyfriend are sitting out front. We're all just talking, having fun. I look up and I see a white orb of light straight across from my house. I'm looking at it. I'm like, that thing is just sitting there and it's not moving. It's just a big orb of white light. I'm thinking helicopter because I'm near a military base. And then all of a sudden, it just grows a tail and it looks like a rocket launch taking off. I caught that on camera. That is on my channel, Ghost Hunts and More. You can find it right on that playlist. And even only real UFOs picked it up and looked at it like, okay. Now I also went back and researched if the military base near here had any rocket launches. Was there a rocket launch in Cape Canaveral or another one that we could see up the East Coast? Tesla, SpaceX stuff. No, not on that night. There was no any record of any rocket launches. So that I caught on camera, and it's right outside my house here in Virginia, and I still can't explain it because I've never seen an orb of light. Thinking it's a helicopter with a light on it or a plane or something. Watch it for like a minute or two, and then it looked like a rocket launch taking off and disappearing. Um, I only caught the tail end of that because I just didn't think anything of it at first. I do wish I started recording earlier, but cheers, y'all. Do you guys have UFO experiences? Do you have any stories that are your favorite for UFO experiences? I've had a lot. I've had a lot of paranormal experiences. I've had UFO experiences. I've had weird things my whole life. I mean, I kind of guess growing up in Bridgewater Triangle, you're going to have more experiences. That whole area is just a haunted area, paranormal, cryptid, everything. Only that one UFO spectral. Well, hopefully you see more. I wanted to go out tonight and look for more. It's just too crappy. Oh, I know you have many paranormal experiences. Me too. A lot of people are saying these things are actually connected. Um, that UFO and paranormal and even cryptids may be even connected. Some people even say Bigfoot is connected to UFO lore. I'm not so sure about that one, but interesting. I mean, a lot of this is just paranormal weirdness going on. Lately, Three Eye Atlas. Look at look at the info they have about that. There, it's not a regular comet. It's emitting its own light. It doesn't have a comet's tail. It's coming from the same area that the WOW signal came from. Um, what else? They've keep getting pictures of it, but they're not telling us everything. I mean, this might be an alien probe coming past to drop off other probes to come to Earth. That's pretty much what some Harvard scientists are saying. There's a lot going on right now with the UFO community and just weirdness. Now, a lot of it, some of it, Tic Tac UFO is contributed to Lockheed Martin, Skunk Works, different things like that. It's getting more and more confusing whether or not we've back engineered all these UFOs and we have our own, like the TR-3B triangle craft. Some of this stuff gets very crazy. There's other people talking about experiences, abductions. Even in the show Hellier, me and Mike are talking about a guy was hypnotized and thought he really got abducted by aliens. It was just a thought experiment, and I don't think he really got abducted, but they hypnotized him to make him think he got abducted by aliens, which is kind of crazy. I hope to see more and get my 1200 lumen flashlight this week so I can possibly go out in the fields and the woods. Yeah, you got some good spots out there to go sky watching there, Mike. So I would do that. You never know when it's going to happen or what's going to happen. It's a quarter of a mile in the woods. Maybe don't do a live, just film it and see what you can capture. Usually if I go really deep in the woods or something like that, or if I'm really far out, I will probably just do a video and see if I can capture anything. It can be very difficult. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. I'm just going to pee. Listen to some music. Copyright me, I don't care. Okay, I'm back. What do you guys think? What do you have you ever had a UFO experience? Have you ever had a weird experience, maybe just seeing like spook lights? Because who knows? Maybe those smaller orb lights are actually something like UFOs, just probes. Um, like that Skinny Bob case or the alien interviews cases, those are very interesting to me. I keep watching new things about UFOs, and I'm not sure about a lot of this stuff, but some of it is definitely not CGI, AI. Spook lights I saw with you, yes, you did. That wasn't my first spook light experience, though. Behind my parents' house, I've seen spook lights a few times. I've seen yellow and blue. Supposedly there's other colors, but one sec. I got a stuffy nose. So, I'm 100% a believer. UFOs, out of this world aliens. Now, were they always here? Are they under the ocean? Are there alien bases? Inner Earth stuff. Hollow Moon. This really starts to go off into different conspiracy theories. Dropped your phone and scared the shit out of the bird. Both UFO and spook lights. I don't actually have like great footage of it, but those spook lights me and Spectral Whispers caught. The old legend goes the abandoned railroad tracks in Bridgewater Triangle. If you're walking down the tracks, you'll see a lantern of the old railroad worker who passed away on the railroad tracks walking up the tracks. What we saw was like an orange light up ahead, and we're all like, oh, we're almost back to our little base camp. And that's going to be the light from our friend that is back over there. No. We were, I don't know, half a mile from him or more. It was confusing. And then realizing what we had witnessed correlate like with the story. I mean, it was that same type of story. Well, so you're going to post the channel? What channel? The guy I got a lot of the Matilda info is Area 52. I do have other stuff in here. Um, that's Bridgewater Triangle, but I did just do some stories on graded. Oh no, that is. I don't know if you guys have seen anything about the alien view where an alien's sitting at a desk and he's actually like choking and some metal. And yeah, there you go, Michael. There's of stuff. I'll probably um put all my shots of the UFO out there in Virginia, the spook light one again, and one that I've captured. But very fun to talk about this stuff. I do want to hear more stories about what they think subject. Crap. like 20 pages. So, Delphos, Kansas, 1970 family. Uh, a UFO encounter where the leaves a ring on the ground, a hydrophobic ring on the ground, leaving white small particles. Different universities, unidentified substances. Many sightings from that area in 1971 and 72. Delphos, Kansas. 3 years after the incident, claimed he had psychic abilities, and that was mushroom in Kansas. And throughout that year, they had over 150 sightings of UFOs. I call it that. Video is made for gadgets. They won't let me read it. Read it. Press. Come on. Gadgets will overlook the corn. You're good. I mean, half the shit I post, nobody really leaves, nobody watches. I don't have fun. Look at stuff. If you have something that you can't explain, put it out there. Let's see if anybody can debunk it. I would like my videos to try and be debunked. I already know I can't debunk them. There's a thing I could say about a few of my videos. I mean, I'm working on 7 years, and I might have like 5 voices on an Xbox. I am talking ghost voice, physical footsteps, embodied footsteps, eyes in a closet. There's only a handful of things to explain. Some of this other stuff I explain, it's natural causes, pareidolia, sure, but every once in a while, I lost you. Oh, I'm back. What up? Yeah, so I don't know how much people actually are interested in the UFO stuff, but paranormal, UFO, crypto, look at any of it. I'm so most of the time, 99% of the time, you're not going to get anything. So far, nobody has debunked it that has seen it. I asking debunkers. I stopped talking to a lot of people. I don't really care if people. I can debunk some of my own stuff. A lot of it I can't. Um, the stuff that happens usually I am actually. I just film. I put it up. I don't add music. I don't do anything. I film and I hope for the best. I wanted to go out tonight and do an investigation and just watch the sky, but it's rainy, shitty. There's no, you're not going to be able to see anything. There's too much cloud cover. My live is saying I've only been going 10 minutes. I think I've been going more than 10 minutes. Maybe because I lost connection and now it's back. But I do hope you guys enjoyed this. Um, yeah, I'll go over some more conspiracy theories because basically some of that is conspiracy theory. But yeah, thanks for coming and hanging out. I'm going to end this here because I don't really have anything else to say. Like, I don't know what else to say. Those are just some abduction stories and different things I like. Some of those stories, I'm not sure if are real or not. I just learned about the Matilda one, talking to an alien at Area 51. But I do thank you guys, and have a great night. SrSpookfest out. Have a good one, guys.